how do I get eyeballs on my business? How do I get people to know that I exist, my business exists, that I'm here? How do I get people to see me? Hello! So I am really excited to be filming this episode because I want to talk about something that I feel is the number one thing I'm always asked, and that is, how do I create more visibility in my business? I mean, this question gets asked in so many different ways. How do I create more visibility? How do I get discovered more? How do I get people to know about me? How do I market my business more effectively? I think people just want to know, how do I get eyeballs on my business? How do I get people to know that I exist, my business exists, that I'm here? How do I get people to see me? And I feel like this is the number one question that all of us, those as business owners, are thinking about, because, you know, we can create amazing things, but at the end of the day, if we can't get people to our amazing things, then we don't have a business and it's not going to get anywhere. So one of the most important things we have to be able to do well as business owners is create visibility for our business, get discovered by people who potentially would love to buy from us. And so I want to share some loads of ideas with you in this episode that hopefully will help you and get ideas flowing for you, and you get to think of different things you could try out. And I also asked inside of my membership, I said, what is your number one way to create visibility to grow your business? And there's been so many great answers. So I wanted to share some of those amazing answers with you. And then I want to share with you the top things that have really helped me and what I would do if I was starting out all over again to create visibility for my business. So let me share some of these answers with you from inside the Members Club. So Adriana said, connecting with people with the same interests using social media, which obviously is a big one. Like, obviously so many of us know that social media is powerful and it's a great place to be to get discovered. Obviously there is also the struggle of feeling like it's crickets and feeling like no one's paying attention to you, or feeling like no one even knows you exist over there, which is another struggle. And I want to talk and share some other ideas with you, because social media is not the be all end all. Nadine said, constant visibility on social media or releasing a new podcast episode. When I drop the ball, I notice. And that's really interesting, because interesting to know that when she stops doing it, she notices that all of a sudden, like, there's not as many people paying attention. Like, she notices the impact on her business, because how many of us are actually really consistent on social media? Like, so many of us want to show up and do stuff on social media, but so many of us are not consistent when it comes to social media. Okay, so Selena said, networking without a doubt. Again, like, such an important one, such a big one. Like, for me, I think that's really one of the biggest things that any of us can do, is really networking, connecting. Sophie said, by working on my own personal profile, winning awards, writing articles, writing books, appearing on podcasts, joining external boards, delivering a TEDx, etc. Once I nailed this, sales in my last business scaled easily to 7 figures, and I attracted even more fun opportunities. It works so well that my new business does this for other business owners, which is bloody amazing. I want to come back to this because there's so much gold in what Sophie said. Course marketplaces. So if you are a course creator or you want to create courses and you don't have your own audience, then a course marketplace is an amazing place to go and create visibility. So Ken's Solomon, she talks about this, how she used Udemy as a way to get herself out there, and she's now had over 70,000, well, way over 70,000, it might be 80,000 by now, students go through her courses on Udemy, which is amazing, because she then gets to communicate with all the people that have gone through her programs, gone through her courses, or bought from her, and it's created so much success for her. She did a masterclass inside the Members Club teaching how to create courses and how to leverage course marketplaces for visibility. And the most amazing thing is, I saw this the other day, someone, I can't remember who it was now, but someone had posted saying they followed her masterclass, the strategies, and they put their course on Udemy, and within 9 hours, I think it was, they had over 1,000 students. It's unbelievable what's possible when you tap into course marketplaces. So if you have courses or want to create courses and you're not tapping into course marketplaces, it could be a really great thing to do. It doesn't have to be the main thing for you, but it's honestly super powerful. Megan Rowe, writing annual trend predictions for coaching professionals. The articles have been published in a number of magazines and in the Library of Professional Coaching. Even 5 months after first publishing the article and video, I still get people contacting me. So thinking about what what articles could you write, and who could you reach out to in terms of like being able to write for people in your industry, like identifying the people other people out there, you know, whether it's like a professional body, you know, in the industry you're in, but what could you do? Could you write for them? How could you be helpful? How could you connect with them? But writing and getting published on other platforms is such a powerful way to create visibility for yourself. Julie said, using the magic of PR marketing by appearing on other podcasts, magazines and interviews. Again, obviously this is massive, because if you can get featured on other people's podcasts or in magazines or doing interviews with other people and you're being exposed to their audience, it's so powerful for you, because then you get discovered by all of their people. So when you think about why would somebody want you on their podcast, or why would a magazine want to feature you, you have to think of like, what could I create that would be super helpful and super valuable for them? So thinking of your industry, your area of expertise, what your business is about, and then thinking of the top pain points that you could address, or the top desires that your audience might feel, or thinking about the top questions that you get asked. Answer those questions and put them into a format so that it would be super helpful. You could reach out to relevant podcasts where you would really compliment them and their audience would love what you have to share, and say, you know, reaching out and talking about like, this is what I can come on and share and talk to you about. It's so helpful. Like, so many magazines and podcasts are looking for people all the time with great knowledge who can come on and share stuff and teach things to their audience. So it's a really powerful thing to do. Julia also said guest blogging on other websites too. And I guess this comes back to the other point from Megan. If like, who could you guest blog for? Like, are you guest blogging? Are you making it your mission to kind of get known on other blogs out there? Would you even know where to guest blog? And if not, like, start looking around at like what is going on in my industry and who would be great people for me to collaborate with or to guest blog for, or to be connected with just in general. Okay, so Mina said, it has to be either Instagram or Pinterest. So again, coming back to social media. Lizzie said, reaching other people's audiences through having guests on my podcast and guest blog posts. So again, like, maybe creating your own platform where you have your own podcast show where you can invite other people to come and speak to you, because knowing that when you do that, the chances of them promoting that episode to their audience are quite high. So again, you're having them on your podcast, so it creates credibility, it creates authority, but then they're likely to go and share that with their own audience too, which is powerful when you're creating your own platform, like having a blog or having a podcast or having an outlet where you can invite other people to come on it with you. Naomi said, set your goal to make friends, make lots of them. I love this point so much, because if you can make it your mission to create as many business friends as possible, to create as many friends in your industry as possible, it's going to be such a game changer for you. When I started FEA, I literally just started to build friendships and connect with people, and it was honestly through that I began to build momentum and I began to start to make things happen. Literally, set yourself a goal, set yourself a target of like connecting with people, building real friendships with people, keep growing that network around yourself of people that you support them and they support you. You've got to be intentional with this, and it's something that you really have to make time for, because if you don't make time for it, you just won't do it. But it's so powerful in terms of creating visibility. You know, if you're part of a community, like let's say you're in the FEA membership, obviously we've got our community, we've got the one on the website, we've also got the Facebook page where there's like, I don't know, just under 6,000 people in the group. So when you're in there, if you join a community like that and you make it your mission to get known, you make it your mission to make friends and to connect with people and to show up as your genuine, authentic, friendly self, to build relationships because you just care about other people and you just want to get to know other people and you're just genuinely interested and you're curious and you want to see how you can support other people. If you do that, if you do that and you do it really intentionally for the next like month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you are going to see huge things begin to happen. Collaborations, those people will probably end up working with you in some way. They'll support you. If you then launched a podcast, for example, and you've got all these people that know you and they're cheering you on, guess what? They're going to go and listen to it. They're going to support you. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, this person could come on. Oh, I think I could connect you with her and she'd love to come on. So creating those friendships is so invaluable, but you've got to make it a real priority to go and do it. So Nell said public speaking events. Again, public speaking can be a massive one. I remember I started to do public speaking really early on when I was building FEA, and it terrified me so much and still does. But it was so powerful. Like I connected with universities and I would go and speak at like university business events, and just by connecting with one person, it opened the door to like so many other things. So just paying attention to like organizations and communities and different things happening, like have your ear on the ground so that you know what is going on in your industry, and get involved, make yourself useful, make yourself helpful, and just connect with people. That was all the ones I'd saved to share. I think there've been lots more on the post. So if you're in the members club, I'll leave the link to the thread so you can check it out. But there are so many different ways to be visible. And I think so often that people get so, they put social media as the number one because everyone's on social media and we just think it's the place to be. And I really do think social media is super powerful. However, I think most of us are using social media wrong. We're posting out content rather than using it as a platform to connect and engage and to network. And so we're putting out the content and it's like crickets. No one's paying attention to us. It's not gaining any traction. We're not building momentum. But really, I think the heart of visibility comes down to the network you keep, the connections you keep. You have to be so bloody good at connecting and networking. I'm not sure that's a lie. You don't have to be so bloody good at it, because you know what? I'm not so bloody good at it. I'm good enough for it to have made a difference, but I'm not bloody good at it. I will admit that. You just have to do it, even do it badly, just do it, and it will make such a difference. Because that's what business is about. It's connecting. The more connected you are to people, the more likely someone's going to recommend you to someone else, or tell someone else about you, or tell you about an opportunity that could be really helping you in terms of visibility, or they might connect you with something that's happening, all those different things. So I also made a list of my own to share on what I think you could do in terms of creating visibility. So some of the biggest things that have helped me. First thing, when I first started FEA, one of the biggest things was sharing stories. So I spent a lot of time connecting with people in other communities, whether that was through social media, through like, for example, at the time it was like a lot of LinkedIn groups, but also a lot of in-person networking. And I found a way that I could share the stories of the people who were my audience. So for example, for me, obviously, I was trying to help women in business. And when I first started FEA, there wasn't really very much around in the online space for helping women in business. And so I decided that I was going to create a series called How She Did It. And I was going to interview other women who were building businesses and share their stories. And in doing that, it gained interest because everyone wants somebody to be interested in them. So if you make someone feel like you're genuinely interested in hearing their story and what they're about, it creates connection, it creates interest. When you publish their story and you share it with them, they go and then share it with their audience, their friends, their family, because they want everyone to see that they've been featured somewhere. So I literally had a website that had zero traffic, and I reached out to people and I said, I'd love to share your story. And I connected with them and I listened to them, and I'd love to share your story. Like, could I talk about it? So if you think about what you do in your industry, and okay, maybe it doesn't work as easily for everyone, but you can get really creative with this and find ways that you can curate and find stories from your audience where they want to talk about stuff. So have a think about it, and then because you want to think, how can I make my audience feel special? How do I make them feel seen? How do I make them feel heard? And then look at places where they're hanging out, and how could you go and connect with them and get to know them, and then be able to reach out and say, I'd absolutely love to share your story. And even if you've got a website and you know that you don't get hardly any traffic, it doesn't matter. People out there still want to be heard and seen, and it starts to build momentum and build traction. So again, the same thing goes for having a podcast. if you have a podcast and you get it out there, you've got that platform where you can invite other people to come and be on your platform. And that is really powerful. When I started FEA, and again, like, obviously I was no one to anyone, but after about a year of running FEA, and I was doing my networking and I was connecting with people and I was building relationships and all that stuff, I started in my magazine, This Girl Means Business. It was called, the first edition run of it. And my goal was to interview some really successful people. Before the first magazine had been published, FEA was a really small, tidgy little platform. And I had my wish list of people. And the first person I really wanted to interview was Kim Kiyosaki. She's the best-selling author of Rich Woman, a book that I'd read. And I literally went on her website, sent her an email saying I love what she did, I'd read a book, would I be able to interview her for my magazine? And she emailed back saying yes. And I interviewed her, and she was on the cover of issue 1 of my magazine. All of a sudden, me and FEA are associated with a best-selling author. So all of a sudden, the authority of FEA starts really creeping up. And then I went on to interview Michelle Moan, who in the UK, she's built really successful businesses, and this was a long time ago now. And I remember really wanting to interview her. I think I tried to get in touch with her, but nothing much was happening. And then I found that she was speaking at an event that I was going to, and I knew at this event it was a big evening event, and she was on stage, and I was like, how am I going to get in front of her? And I saw that she was sat on a table on the other side of the room, so I was terrified. But I went over and I told her how much I loved her talk and would I be able to interview her for my magazine? And guess what? She said yes. And so doing that and like going along to events was really helpful. I remember one time wanting to interview Michael Gerber, the author of The E-Myth, Revisited, or The E-Myth. And I read that book, bloody love it so much. And I had emailed him, reached out to him, I wasn't getting anything back. And I remember just paying attention to everything he was doing. And this one day, he posted on his Facebook fan page a quote that I had created for FEA, and I was like, what? This is insane. Like, what a small world. And so I left a comment saying, oh, I'm so happy that you enjoyed like resharing my quote. Maybe I can interview you now. And so someone responded right away, and guess what? Within a week, the interview was set up, and I was on the phone with Michael Gerber interviewing him for the issue of the magazine, and he was on the front cover. And so in doing this and putting myself out there and connecting with people in my industry that I thought would be really, one, have amazing things to share with my audience, but it was just powerful because then people saw me and FEA interviewing and next to these people, so they were helping me rise up. So if you think about your industry, who are people that you want to be associated with? Get it out of your head that you need to be on a certain level to be associated with those people. You do not. It's a myth. You can be associated with those people right now. It's just, how are you going to show up? How are you going to connect with them? What is going to be a way to connect with them where they want to have a conversation with you or they want to do something with you? And just really getting intentional about the people that you can bring into your world. The other thing is that I wanted to say, aside from sharing stories, is what networks, what communities, what organisations, what businesses do you need to get in with? Like, who do you need to get to know you? So when I first started FEA, I was networking all the time. I was going to local events. I went to like the Chamber of Commerce, and I was like, this is not for me. And then I went to other events where it was just women, and I enjoyed them much more. And I connected with people, and then through that it led to other opportunities, and then it just kept going and going. And then this person was like, oh, there's this thing going on, do you want to go along to it? And I'd be like, yes. So I was looking at like the organisations around. So I started to also do stuff with the Institute of Directors, and I got to know the guy who ran the Institute of Directors in Manchester, and I began to help him out and just look at ways like, how can you be helpful? How can you connect with these organisations just to be helpful? What can you do? And I found for me that in getting on the ground and getting myself out there and having conversations with people and trying to just be helpful and show up in just helpful ways, it really helped me to build momentum and to create so much visibility for myself. So I think ask yourself the question, like literally get a pen and a piece of paper and write down all the organisations. It could be like, I did stuff with schools, I did stuff with universities, I did stuff with the banks, reached out to the banks, literally. So what organisations, are there charities around you? Are there big organisations around you? Could you do something with a university? Could you do something with a school? And maybe some of the things you might do, and it's like not really built that much visibility, but it might lead to another opportunity. But I think in just getting yourself out there physically, don't just go on social media and be posting stuff out and thinking that that's going to create visibility for you. It probably isn't going to create visibility for you. What will create visibility for you is you getting out there, using social media as a community tool, getting into groups and using them as a into communities, looking at what's going on in your actual community in real life and connecting. I know people, and Natasha on my team actually, when she started her business, she literally just used Facebook groups and started connecting and networking in groups, and that is how she got her business off the ground. Literally just from showing up in groups, being helpful in groups, being useful, answering questions, just being valuable inside of groups, not being annoying, not being pushy, not posting really inauthentic posts where you just know you can just see right through somebody, just being really real. And okay, maybe you're going to post a few crappy posts. I remember having a conversation once with someone and she said, looking back now at the beginning, I feel embarrassed by the way I used to behave because it was literally just shameful. Like, it was all about what can I get? And now she's realised that it's not about that mindset. It's more about like, what can I give? How can I show up and be helpful? How can I just be genuinely, authentically the real me and just build relationships with people? So, at the beginning, maybe you're going to get it wrong a few times, but just showing up and having the courage to show up in communities, even if you feel intimidated, out of your depth, show up, because I tell you what, everyone else is feeling the same blooming things, or at least they started off feeling the same blooming things. So just kind of pushing through that and just showing up. And if you think back to like all those things that people said in the membership when I asked that thread, and I think I'm going to go back to Sophie, by working on my own personal profile, winning awards, writing articles, writing books, appearing on podcasts, joining external boards, delivering a TEDx. So let's look at this. Winning awards. What awards could you put yourself forward for? Again, really great way to create visibility, and there's tons of different awards going on, so go and research different awards you could put yourself forward for. Writing articles, again, we've covered this. Who could you write articles for? How can you get really good at pulling out your own zone of genius and the top tips and the top things you can think of, and how could you share those with other people in your industry or organisations, platforms, magazines? How could you get your voice out there through other channels? Writing books, that is a massive one for creating authority. Write a book. Okay, it's not necessarily a quick, easy win, but I'm telling you, you need to build your platform, and that it does look like having a blog or a podcast where you get to channel your voice and you get to invite other people to channel their voices on your platform that would be relevant. Having a book where, again, you get to channel your voice in a big way. It creates so much authority, and with the podcast and potentially with the book, lining yourself up to be associated with other people that you want to be associated with. She said appearing on podcasts, again, getting yourself out there on podcasts, joining external boards. And this is where it comes into what's going on, like what is happening in your industry, what organisations could you become part of, where could you help out, where could you be valuable. I've been an ambassador for people, I've been a judge on panels for people, I've helped out in so many different ways. Delivering a TEDx, again, put it on your goal board to do a TEDx talk. It's something that every single one of us can do, every single one of us without fail, even if it terrifies you. How badly do you want to build a successful business? How badly do you want to create visibility for yourself? Because this business can change your life. You can literally Sophie did all those things to build a 7-figure business. I can literally say I've practically done all of those things in order to build my 7-figure business. So I know these steps work because I've done them myself. And if I was going back to square one and starting all over again, these are the things I would be doing. Yes, I would probably have a presence on social media, but my focus would be on relationships, networking, connections. That's where the magic is at when it comes to visibility. That is what's going to help you to build momentum and get yourself out there and get known. So I would focus completely on that and get known for what you want to be known for and build those relationships and connections. So I hope it's been helpful. I hope it sparked lots of ideas, and I hope it's helped you realise that you just have to get good at building these relationships, which I think is so much more doable than figuring out how to become fantastically amazing and growing a huge social media following. You don't have to get really good at that right now. All you have to get really good at is building relationships. Connecting with people, being useful to other people, being helpful to other people, being of value to other people. like just showing up as you, your real self, and building these relationships. And you can do it. We can all do it. But how much of the time are you focusing on that? I guarantee the people that are focusing on that are building momentum. The people who are not giving their time to that piece, connecting, networking, they're not, I bet they're just struggling in the weeds, struggling with crickets, and no one's paying attention. So literally carve out, even if it's like 2 hours a week. I mean, I think it should be more than that. I think maybe if you spent like a day a week on it, it would be helpful. There was a study that I was reading. I was flicking through my book earlier, and I landed on a page and it was telling me, I can't remember what study it was now, but something like businesses that spend at least 2 days a week focusing on like marketing their business grow 60% faster, which makes sense. Because if you focus that time on like marketing, but imagine if you spent 2 days a week on connecting and building relationships and networking, what a massive difference it would make to your business. You would scale it and grow it so much faster. So go all in with it and see what you can make happen when it comes to visibility in your business. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, lots of ideas for you to go and think about and implement. So I hope you enjoy connecting. Really look at the communities that you can be part of. If you're not part of the FEA community, it's full of the most amazing businesswomen. And even if businesswomen aren't your target audience, the women you can find in there to collaborate, connect with, is just phenomenal. So be part of really great communities. I'll leave a link for you to join, even though it's not always open, but I'll leave a link for you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next Tuesday for another episode of the She Means Business Show. All right, take care. Bye.